Whiterun, the jewel of Skyrim, the beating heart of trade and politics, the city with the best porch in the province. But for all of its charm, Whiterun has one huge problem. Its justice system is a complete disaster. Now, Skyrim's legal system is already a bit of a mess, but Whiterun? Whiterun takes it to another level. Corrupt guards, ridiculous punishments, blatant favoritism. It's less of a justice system and more of a who do I feel like arresting today system. So let's talk about why Whiterun's laws make absolutely no sense at all. The guards in Whiterun have exactly two priorities: standing around and saying intimidating things like no lollygagging, arbitrarily deciding who does and doesn't get punished for breaking the law. You can literally murder someone in broad daylight, but if no one sees you do it, congratulations, you're free to go. Meanwhile, if you accidentally take an apple from a cart, suddenly the entire Whiterun guard is coming at you like you just burned down Dragon's Reach. But here's where it gets worse. Some people just don't get punished at all. Take Nazim for example. This guy spends every waking second talking down to people, acting like he owns the place and generally making life miserable for everyone around him. Yet somehow, Whiterun's guards don't care. Meanwhile, the companions who openly admit they go around killing people for money get a free pass. But why? Because Whiterun's justice system doesn't actually care about justice. It just cares about keeping up appearances. Oh, and let's not forget that if you have enough gold, you can just bribe the guards and walk away like nothing happened. Now I get it. Skyrim is a rough place. Bandits everywhere, dragons attacking every other Tuesday. You'd think that would mean Whiterun's guards would be, I don't know, a little more careful about who they attack. No. The second you commit a crime, the guards go from mildly passive-aggressive to full-blown execution mode. And it doesn't matter if your crime was something small. Steal a sweet roll, you're getting a sword to the face. Pick a flower that wasn't technically yours, you better start running. There is zero proportionality in this system. There's no investigations, no warnings. Hey, maybe let's not kill the guy who just accidentally bumped into a table. No. Whiterun's guards would rather chase you across the province and risk their own lives over a 5 gold bounty than actually use some common sense. Also, fun fact, if you're caught breaking the law and decide to fight back, the guards don't just try to subdue you. They will kill you, no questions asked. At that point, you're basically on their hit list forever. You could single-handedly save Whiterun from a dragon and they'd still be like, yeah, but you stole a fork once, so death it is. If you're a Nord in Whiterun, congrats, you basically get away with anything. And if you're not a Nord, well, let's just say the guards have a slightly different approach. Take the Kahit caravans, for example. They are peaceful merchants. They sell rare goods, they don't cause any trouble, and yet they're banned from entering Whiterun. Why? Because apparently, all of them are thieves. Meanwhile, the Dunmer living in the slums, the guards treat them like criminals, even if they haven't done anything wrong. You could be the most law-abiding dark elf in Skyrim, and you'd still have some guards sneering at you like, you better not cause trouble, elf. And then there's the class divide. If you're rich, like Nazim, or the Battleborns, you get a free pass. If you're poor, like the random beggars and struggling shopkeepers, you're automatically suspicious. You could literally watch the rich nobles commit crimes and the guards would be like, I didn't see anything at all. Meanwhile, if a random citizen so much as breathes in the wrong direction, it's straight to jail. So it's less of a justice system and more of a who has money and power system. Let's talk about Skyrim's infamous bounty system, because Whiterun's version is somehow even worse. In theory, the bounty system is supposed to be a way to keep track of crimes and punish criminals accordingly. In practice, it's more like a glorified snitch on the Dragonborn system that makes absolutely no sense. You could commit a crime in the middle of nowhere with 0 witnesses and somehow the guards in Whiterun will instantly know about it. Did you accidentally hit a chicken with a stray fireball in Riverwood? Congrats, Whiterun's entire guard force is now out for your blood. But here's where it gets even more ridiculous. The bounty doesn't scale with the severity of the crime. You could literally assassinate the Jarl of Whiterun and your bounty would be 1,000 gold. Meanwhile, stealing a loaf of bread, 25 gold. I don't know what kind of economy they're running in Skyrim, but that math does not check out. And the worst part, if you pay off your bounty, you're magically forgiven for everything. Murder, theft, assault, it doesn't matter. Just hand over some gold and the guards will be like, all is forgiven, citizen. It's less of a legal system and more of a pay-to-win mechanic. Honestly, at this point, Whiterun's guards should just start accepting Skyrim's version of microtransactions. The coveted title of Thane, a position of honour, respect, and complete immunity from the law. You see, in most functioning societies, becoming a noble or gaining political status doesn't suddenly make you immune to consequences. But in Whiterun, the moment you become Thane, the justice system just stops working. If you steal from a market stall, the guards will say, "Stop right there, criminal scum." But then you flash that shiny little Thane title and suddenly they're all like, "Oh, my apologies, Thane, I didn't realise it was you." You can literally commit any crime. Assault, theft, even murder, and the guards will just let it slide. Why? Because apparently being besties with the Jarl makes you above the law. But here's the funniest part, the system isn't even consistent. The guards will happily let you go for murder, but try to pickpocket someone right in front of them, and then boom, instant bounty. And this weird Thane privilege creates one of the most bizarre paradoxes in Skyrim. Imagine this, you can assassinate Nazim in broad daylight. The guards run up, ready to arrest you. You simply say, "It's fine, I'm Thane." The guards nod and walk away like nothing happened. But the second you accidentally pick up a wooden plate, sorry Thane, no special treatment for you. It's straight to the dungeon. It's almost like the guards are less concerned with actual crimes and more concerned with maintaining some weird power dynamic. As long as you've done a couple of favours for the Jarl and own some property, you can do whatever you want. At this point, Whiterun's justice system isn't just broken, it's actively encouraging corruption. Honestly, if Ulfric Stormcloak really wanted to overthrow the Empire, he should have just become the Thane of Whiterun and walked straight into solitude without any consequences. So let's say you've committed a crime in Whiterun, and for whatever reason, you actually decide to serve your time instead of bribing the guards or abusing your Thane status. What happens next? Well, you get sent to Dragon's Reach Dungeon, a place that is supposed to be Skyrim's equivalent of a high security prison. But in reality, it's more like an all-inclusive weekend getaway. First off, the cell doors are made of wood. Wood. In a world where magic, fireballs, and literal dragons exist, Whiterun decided that wooden bars were enough to contain criminals. I've seen stronger security in Bellathor's general goods store. And the guards? Yeah, they just kind of leave you alone. No one checks in on you. No one patrols the halls, you're free to just sit there, vibe with the skeleton in the corner and reflect on your crimes. Or, immediately pick the lock and walk out. Because that's the other thing, Whiterun's prison isn't designed to actually keep you in. Your lock-picking skill could be at a level 5, and you'd be able to break out in under 10 seconds. The guards won't even chase you. You just casually stroll out of the dungeon fully pardoned for whatever crimes you committed. But even then, serving your time doesn't even make sense. In most games, with a prison system, doing your time is supposed to act as a punishment. You lose your stolen items, you lose progress, maybe your skills degrade, but in Skyrim, you just sleep for a bit, and boom, clean slate. You can murder half the population of Whiterun, take a nap in the dungeon for a few hours, and suddenly you're free to walk around the market like nothing happened. No one holds a grudge, the Jarl doesn't care, and the guards don't even bring it up. And what's even funnier is that there's no real difference between serving 1-day sentence for stealing a sweet roll and doing a life sentence for mass murder. It's the same prison, the same wooden bars, and the same skeleton roommate. Honestly, if you're trying to roleplay a criminal mastermind in Skyrim, getting arrested in Whiterun is the most efficient way to operate. Commit crimes, go to jail, break out, and then repeat. It's basically the Tamriel version of speedrunning the legal system. At this point, I'm convinced that Whiterun's prison isn't actually meant to rehabilitate criminals. It's just a really poorly managed Airbnb. Okay, let's pretend for a second that Whiterun's justice system actually wanted to be fair. How would they do that? Well, they could start by, having trials, investigations, some kind of system where people are actually proven guilty before being punished. But right now, in Whiterun, the guards act as judge, jury, and executioner. If someone accuses you of a crime, that's it. You're guilty. You don't get to plead your case, you don't get to prove your innocence, and you definitely don't get a fair trial. It's just option A, pay an arbitrary fine, option B, go to jail, or option C, die trying to resist arrest. And if you do choose jail, guess what? You don't actually serve a sentence, you just sit there until you pick the lock and walk out. Which honestly just proves how pointless the whole system is. Basically, Whiterun's justice system isn't about justice at all. It's about power. It's about making sure the people in charge stay in charge, while everyone else is just a minor inconvenience to be dealt with. And the best part is, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You could become the literal hero of Skyrim. You could save Whiterun from destruction. You could even become a Thane, and yet, if you steal a single cheese wheel, guess what? All the guards in Whiterun are still going to come for you. So yeah, Whiterun's justice system, it sucks.